The massive Feeding Our Futures fraud scheme. And when he was charged 4 years ago, Abdikerm Abdelahi fled the country. His name came up a lot during the trial of the now convicted ringleader of the scandal, Amy Bach. And that trial also exposed multiple communications they had with Congresswoman Ilhan Omar's staff.
Good afternoon, beautiful people, and welcome back. I have missed you guys so much. I have been quite busy with my son's track meets, which have been multiple day events. Track season is drawing near an end, so just about a month left, and I think I should have part of my life back. Anyways, I hope you all are doing well and enjoying the warmer weather because I sure am. Okay, so Congresswoman Ilhan Omar is laughing at us again because once again, she is connected to another Somali fraudster who the FBI had to pursue all the way to Somalia. And she's making headlines after newly amended financial filings dramatically changed the reported value of her household assets. Because as you remember, a few months ago, disclosures appeared to show that Ilhan Omar and her husband, political consultant Tim Minette, controlled millions of dollars in assets. But now, an amended filing paints a completely different picture. Her office says that the original filing contained accounting errors. And with everything going on around Ilhan Omar, Republicans want her to be subpoenaed, as they should. Welcome to Nellie Miranda.
Scrutiny yet again over her alleged connections to Somali-based individuals arrested for fraud. The most recent individual was found in Somalia after being on the run for 4 years. He was allegedly a central figure in the Feeding Our Future fraud scheme that stole close to $300 million in COVID-19 pandemic relief programs.
There was also a string of text messages between Bach and Omar's staff. What did all of those messages say? Well, we don't know that because they were sealed by the court. And when Minnesota lawmakers investigating the fraud requested Congresswoman Omar to turn those records related to her office's contacts with individuals who've been charged or convicted in the scheme, she refused.
It's not like a one-off. She has relationships with many of those who've been convicted or charged in this scheme. So I think it's absolutely relevant that we get to the truth of what those communications with her office were.
As always, please make sure you like, share, and subscribe to support the channel. Okay, so one of the biggest figures in the massive $250 million fraud scandal, the Feeding Our Future fraud scheme, is no longer on the run. Abdikerm Abdelahi Eidleh. That makes more sense. Prosecutors described him as a central player in the scheme. He was captured all the way in Mogadishu, Somalia, after spending nearly 4 years as a fugitive. The arrest was carried out in coordination with the FBI and Somali authorities. So good on them for assisting in arresting one of their pirates. But if you or someone you love needs assistance with Medicare, please call my friends over at CASHAPP. The people who are supposed to be looking out for our tax dollars keep dropping the ball. And a lot of seniors feel like they are not being looked out for, especially those on Medicare. But I am here to tell you that CASHAPP got your back. They are the only Medicare advisors that compare every plan nationwide and advocate for you and not the insurance companies. They are not paid to push certain plans, so if you are already on the best plan for you, they'll tell you flat out. And if you're not, they'll help you switch to a plan that's best suitable for your needs without using pushy sales tactics. You have nothing to lose but everything to gain. So for complete Medicare guidance, please dial 646-817-8160. That is 646-817-8160, or go to askchapter.org/Nellie. Now let's get back to the story. According to prosecutors, Eidleh helped orchestrate one of the largest COVID-era fraud schemes in American history. He is accused of helping create fake meal sites, submitting fraudulent reimbursement claims for children who were never fed, laundering millions of taxpayer dollars, and collecting millions in bribes and kickbacks. He faces dozens of federal charges and had allegedly fled the United States before he could be arrested.
Chair of the Minnesota House Fraud Prevention Committee is calling on Congress to enforce a subpoena that would require Minnesota Congresswoman Ilhan Omar to answer questions about her alleged contacts with convicted fraudsters. It comes after another arrest tied to the state's sprawling Feeding Our Future fraud scandal. Correspondent Garrett Tenney takes a look tonight from our Midwest Bureau.
Minnesota Democratic Congresswoman Ilhan Omar is facing new questions tonight over her possible ties to alleged fraudsters involved in the massive Feeding Our Future scandal. The Justice Department says after years on the run, Abdikerm Eidleh is now in custody in Somalia, awaiting extradition. Prosecutors say the 42-year-old was a central figure in the $250 million fraud scheme, working with now convicted ringleader Amy Bach, whose trial exposed communications between the pair and Congresswoman Omar's staff. The details of those messages are sealed under court order, but we know in February 2021, Bach sent Eidleh an email with the subject line Ilhan's office. And weeks earlier, she had an email chain with Omar's office with the subject line Help with USDA food programs. Bach also had a string of text messages with Omar's office.
Did you ask Minnesota Democrats to block the subpoena?
Last month, Minnesota House Democrats blocked a Republican effort to subpoena records related to Omar's contacts with individuals that have been charged or convicted in the scheme.
This is not like a one-off. She has relationships with many of those who have been convicted or charged in this scheme. So I think it's absolutely relevant that we get to the truth of what those communications with her office were.
Omar denies any wrongdoing, telling Fox Digital, any claim that I had knowledge of this scheme is flat out false.
Now, to be clear, Ilhan Omar has not been charged with any crime, and prosecutors have not accused her of participating in the Feeding Our Future fraud scheme. However, like you just heard, her name has repeatedly surfaced during the broader public and political debate surrounding the case. Critics have pointed to letters that she sent in 2021 raising concerns about the increased oversight of federal meal programs and have argued that those actions have benefited organizations that later became part of the investigation. But again, Ilhan Omar has denied any wrongdoing and said that her office was responding to constituents' concerns about program administration, not attempting to shield fraud. So the bigger question now is whether the arrest of Eidleh will lead to new testimony, new evidence, or new developments in one of the largest fraud investigations in Minnesota history. And will Ilhan Omar ever face any questions? That is what we are all wondering, including Greg Gutfeld. Take a listen.
I have to do until I fill out that my parole sheet. I don't know what I'm doing here.
This is the best. She doesn't even answer any of the questions. A simple question. Who's protecting her? Why are they protecting her? She married her sibling. She's an alleged fraudster. She's implicated in a ton of cases. I just want her to remove the headscarf and see if she has a Nazi symbol on it, because that would be the trifecta. But if she's had to testify on her own behalf, what can we do? I wish we had a lawyer here that could tell me what we can do. Can she be arrested? How hard is this? If mafia bosses went away for less. She's the perfect example of a trickster who exploited the system, paralyzed by identity politics. That's why when she's being implicated in all this, she's calm, cool, and collected. She thinks she's going to get off.
Yeah.
But moving on to Ilhan Omar's financial disclosures. Her earlier disclosures listed Ilhan Omar and her husband's assets somewhere between roughly $6 million and $30 million. Those numbers immediately generated national attention. Journalist Angela Rose went to said winery. It didn't exist. She went to the Rose Lake Capital firm. It didn't exist, allegedly. Then Ilhan Omar and Tim Arnett said, "Sorry, we're just kidding. We're just kidding. We are so sorry to send you on a goose chase." She is claiming that their household assets are approximately $20,000 to $125,000. So basically, my husband is sitting around like a bump on a log. Did you guys really think that we were worth millions? You silly gooses. My husband makes less than $1,000 a year. So according to this article by the New York Post, it reads, "The only money Minette, who has nearly 2 decades of experience in D.C., earned last year is a meager $200 to $1,000 from his defunct California-based wine business E Street Crew, which sold bottles such as the Devil's Lie before going belly up in April." Omar claimed the total value of the couple's assets was between $20,000 and $125,000 for 2025, and their credit card and student loan debt hovered between $30,000 and $100,000, putting their net worth at negative $80,000 to $95,000, according to the report. Now, naturally, people really have some questions. How does the financial picture change this dramatically? Were the original numbers wrong, or are the new numbers wrong? And who the heck is the CPA that everyone and their mama should steer clear of? Because Ilhan Omar and her team is claiming this to be an accounting error. And when solving a math problem, if you know what you're doing, you might be off by a little bit, but you're not going to be off by millions and millions of dollars. With Ilhan Omar's ties to Somali fraudsters and her fluctuating net worth, some Republicans are calling for her to be subpoenaed. And if we are to have any trust in our government, they have to learn to be transparent. We, the people, have to know and feel like we don't, in fact, live in a two-tiered justice system. Politicians get away with everything under the sun, and ordinary Americans are put behind bars for what could be considered minor in comparison to the crimes of the political class. All in all, we can only wait and see what will happen. Will this controversy simply fade away, or will investigators continue reviewing the amended disclosures? I hope we can all get to the bottom of her disclosures and her connections with the Somali fraudsters. But you let me know your thoughts in the comments, and if you got any value from today's video, please make sure you like, share, and subscribe to support the channel, and ring the bell so you don't miss any future updates. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.